Hi, Kris.
Hi,
How are you?
pretty good. Kind of cold down here. It's starting to, winter's coming in, I think.
Winter is coming for sure. It feels
Mm.
really great, and I love the bright sunny days, but with the chill.
Oh, yes, me too.
All right, I'm going to introduce you.
Okay.
Kris Martinez is the Oregon Connecting Consciousness Coordinator. She volunteers at a nursing home doing chaplain services and speaking to hospice patients. In her conversations with them, she often focuses on crossing over as the fantastic part of life and going home. In her interactions, she takes the fear out of leaving their earth suit. Kris also runs a little online plant nursery. I've asked her on today to share her testimonials in her work. I absolutely believe that we can change the narrative around ascension, even beginning with the words we choose. Instead of my mother died or passed away, I could be saying my mother ascended in 2020. And that makes me feel better. It just paints a more beautiful picture in my mind. So I'm going to start with a couple questions for Kris. Kris, did you want to
Okay.
add anything else to the bio that I shared?
No, but I do like the way you said about your mom ascending because my mom passed away, ascended, and that I was actually very happy for her. Very happy for her. So,
Right. And that's what we're going to get to, right?
mm,
Because
yes.
I want that. I want that for us. I don't want, it's sad to lose the physical form of them, but I also want us to be happy for them when they pass. And this is why we're having this conversation,
Totally. Yeah,
right?
totally. It's I think in our, I don't know if it's Western kind of culture or just a more modern, we make it so doom and gloom and so sad when, other civilizations and cultures, they revere it, and that they are still communicating with them and they have more power. I just think that's amazing. And I do feel that way also.
Yeah, I think it's because we never talk about the soul and the everlasting soul, right? And so it's if we can continue to have these conversations around we have this earth suit that we embody, and during this time on earth, what did we do during this time on earth? And when we are ascending, can we be can we be peaceful and happy in this place because our soul then is freed, because this is what tethers us. This is what is heavy,
Yeah.
heavy to the soul. And now we're light. And imagine if you have several siblings, and your parents have parents that are still alive or whatever. Now this soul is everywhere. I don't have to wait for my mother to jump on a plane, or
Mhm.
now she's like not able to jump on a plane, and so I can't see her. She's everywhere. Can we really just sink into that?
Yes. I just think of energy and I started getting into like quantum entanglement and all of that. It was yeah, years ago, and it's still trying to process in my head how all that works. Excuse me, because we have this just how we're taught and everyone reacts here to everything on Earth. But when you start just sitting and thinking or meditating or just talking to someone who has ascended, who has crossed over back home, is what I kind of call it sometimes. I mean, it's like you hear from them, just like when we pray or we hear from God or our source, we just have a knowing. So it's more like telepathic and a feeling. It's that energy just talking to every cell. And it's when you're talking to people like at the nursing home, most of them are pretty, they're pretty high in age, physical age, and they just seem so locked, right? The ones that
Mhm.
are very maybe had a very strong church upbringing, which I didn't, but I was a pastor for a while, an associate pastor, and I could see the limitations on our creator. Oh no, that's not of our creator. Oh no, blah blah blah. And I'm like, that doesn't make sense to me. Our creator is love, so I really want to instill that. I try to do that with everyone I speak to, but boy, at the nursing home, it's amazing, and it's amazing what you find out about people. They'll just start spilling and talking about their amazing lives, and, people just pass by an old person, they say, "Oh, they're old, and they don't remember anything. They have dementia," or, just something. You
Mhm.
start talking to them.
Mhm.
Whoa, amazing lives people live,
Even when
it's
they
just
have dementia, they
oh,
have
yeah.
stories.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, those are kinda like my favorite ones. Um There's a woman that's there now, that wants to at the nursing home, she wants to make it to her 100th birthday, and she's 98. But she is, I mean, just this tiny thing, and we've had some long conversations. Really cool, and she told me one day, she goes, my husband, he was a traveler, if you know what I mean," and winks at me. And so we just started talking. That just opened it up, and we just started talking about all this stuff. And now she's at the point where she feels that he's still alive, but he won't wake up. And I said, next time he wakes up, why don't you just hold his hand and say,
Mhm.
come on, let's go home? Because she's not living a very wonderful life,
Right.
right now. And all she talks about is him. And he's passed away for quite a while now.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's passed away, and so she's saying that she is seeing him, but she's seeing him sleeping. So
She
interesting.
was seeing him alive, and now she says, I'm trying to wake him up. And I said, go wake him up, hold his hand, and just why
Mhm.
don't you guys just go home? And that's what I'm telling her I'm encouraging her because she has this goal of reaching 100 years old in this earth suit
Yeah.
that's really not in very good condition anymore.
Mhm.
And she's missing her husband and her little dog so much. She even says, "Oh," and she'll go like this, and the little dog will jump up on her lap, and I just say, "Oh, what a cute little dog," and we just have a conversation because I don't know. I've helped or talked with like mentally ill people and things like that, and when their reality is their reality, you can't tell them
Mhm.
that person isn't there or this
Right.
or this. And I guess people want to put them on medication so that they'll act more normal, but that is their normal. I believe they're transitioning over. And the mental illness, I'm not real sure what's happening
Mhm.
there,
Mhm. Mhm.
but you can't convince somebody that they're not seeing or feeling what they're seeing and feeling.
Right. I just interviewed a woman named Becky Damgard, and she works at the Autism Treatment Center of America. And what they do is they practice this this thing called joining, where you immerse yourself into the child's world, and it completely changes everything. Right? And um, she talks about these things that you learn when you're working with children that are labeled as not normal,
Right.
and you go into their world, right? You realize that as humans, we can do that.
Yes, we can.
To actually meet people where they're at and be curious to learn about them instead of making them conform to what is perceived as normal, because we now know that normal is actually very abnormal. Sitting in a classroom for 5 hours a day listening to some person babble at you, that's abnormal. It might work for some
Totally.
people and sometimes it doesn't, but it's the stepping into this world, right? And imagine if you're like working with this elderly person who has this dog, how disruptive that would be to her nervous system. if you were to say, "That's not there. Hello," like, come back. Come on, come back."
Oh, I can't stand that. I can't stand that. And I do agree with you about the woman that you interviewed. I used to work in special ed for kids 14 to 21 in public school. And that was what I was doing just a few years ago. And that's totally, I used to just sit there, because the spectrum is very wide because we don't really know. And I just remember sitting, just talking with kids and um the way they put things together is so different. So if I just sat there and listened to their way, I could kind of get some communication and some um joining, like you said, or camaraderie almost, because I'm seeing the things the way they see it. I don't understand a lot of it, but I do want to agree with them that this is their world. This is what they're seeing. This is how they are communicating or not communicating. So let's get in there so we can at least help or just at least make a connection.
Yes, it's always about the connection and making
Yes,
people feel that they matter, no
yes,
matter what age we're at. And that's why it's really important to have this conversation with you because you work with the elderly. And,
yes.
you know, besides children, the elderly are forgotten and neglected.
So forgotten. I go and I I I I get a list after I go on Thursdays and we have what we call church or devotions basically. And I go in there and I try to do the my expanded knowledge of let's say how we got here, what life, what I'm learning is really about. And it's it's kind of hard because we have one person that's extremely, he was raised in a church all his life, very, doing good deeds and, da 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 da. And then we have other people there that I'm so grateful that they're there because they were beat up with religion as a younger person, so they don't want to go to church. But I would go visit them individually in their rooms, and they're like, "Oh, well, you're not, fire and brimstone or anything." I said, "No, no, I'm about love and adventure and all that kind of thing." And so we have some tussles sometimes. You wouldn't think it's like church because people start yelling, whether it's like they'll bring up a political point or a no, that's not what really happened, or just whatever. And it's just amazing. But I still try to keep them all. Let's all keep together here and see what we have in common. And a lot of times, most everybody that comes to devotions are in wheelchairs. And
Uh-huh.
I think only one or two are able to actually wheel themselves. So they have to have help even for that, to get
Mhm.
around the facility. And so I I mostly talk about that. I'll just say, we always think, gosh, I'm just stuck here in this nursing home. I can't even walk around. I say what people don't say. I
Mhm.
say what people don't say. It's
Mhm.
like, so now what? Where's my excitement? And most of these people, they don't have anyone visiting them. I I it just breaks my heart. Absolutely breaks my heart. And every single person is so interesting. And I'll get a list afterwards of people to visit. Um, um, okay, could you visit these people? These couple are in hospice, these are new, these, etc., whatever. So I'll go in and just talk to them, and I get to know these people, and they're just the stuff that they're doing and what they think just blows your mind, and what they think about God. Because I'll just go in there, I'm the local chaplain. Just if you have anything to, if you want to just express or dump on, or you're excited about whatever. And they do. They just tell me stuff, and I give hugs and kisses, and it's just wonderful.
So sweet.
It's wonderful. And some people can't even talk, so I don't know, I guess it's intuitive, and I'll just, I'll know that maybe this person was in the military or something, and I'll just bring that up. And they may not be able to speak, but you could tell they get excited. And I'll just say, "Oh, I bet you did this you know, and was it like that? And I'll just make up different scenarios that I'm just like seeing or feeling, and they'll nod yes or no, or do this or whatever. But I do try to communicate with them as much as possible. There's so many just wonderful people, but there's a lot of people that are just hanging on by a thread.
Right.
And one woman in particular, very old, very, very frail. And it was when I was first starting there.
Mhm.
And I was told that she was afraid to die. And I went to go visit her, and she couldn't even move, and she was in so much pain, just asked me, "Can you just move my back?" So I got one of the CNAs, and let's, can we do something to get her a little more comfortable? Because when your bed is sitting up like this, you have a lot of pressure on your lower back.
Mm.
Who knows? I know that pain, so I know, it must be just horrible. So anyway, so I just started talking to her, and we were just talking about, who's already, in her family, and everybody, even her kids, and had already passed away, had already ascended. I like the way you said it, had already crossed over.
Mhm.
And but she was afraid. And I said, I heard from other people that right before, usually a few days before they are, it's their time to go home. I said they'll see their loved ones, or they'll see an angel, or they'll see something like that. I said, "Have you seen anything?" She goes, "No, but I hear voices." And I said, "Okay, okay." And she said her husband and then someone else. She goes, "I guess it's an angel." I said, "Oh, that's cool." And I said, so I just started telling her about I had watched a lot of near death experiences, which to me are not near. They did die,
Right.
physically and come back. And there's OBEs, out of body experiences and different things of people. And when they come back, they're like, wow, I didn't even know that was me. I just looked down and saw somebody on the bed or in the car, wherever, the incident, the event took place. And she's like, really? And I said, yeah, no pain. And as soon as they're in out of their body, even if they don't realize it, there's no pain.
Mhm.
She was like, really, really, just food for thought. And we were just talking about it, talking about it. And then I came the next week, and then all of a sudden, it's like she's not scared anymore. And she was asking me these questions, and I was holding her hand, and we were just talking. And I said, yeah. I said, I guess when you just are ready to go,
Mhm.
you just start calling on people, and they'll call on you too. They'll be here in your room. Just go with them. You don't have to wait till you see the light, or, you have this big heart attack or whatever. You can just go. It's just taking a step and crossing over that threshold, and your physical body may actually still be alive, but your spirit, your soul has already gone. And she was actually kind of excited. I think the pain thing was really big.
Yeah.
She was hungry all the time, but all she could eat was like applesauce and things like that. And she was telling me a little bit about her life, and she had lived such a good life with children and a husband, and traveled and moved different states and all
Mhm.
these different things. And then I when I left her room, I told the nurses station and a couple other people, hey, if you know that she's going to, leave, please call
Ascend.
me. Please call me.
Mhm.
I would love to be there to hold her hand. And
Yeah.
so she doesn't do this alone. And I would come on Thursday, and they said Wednesday in the middle of the night, she
She
had
left.
crossed over. And I was like, I was like, when they were telling me like this, and I was like, yeah, she is dancing and having a party.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, she's feeling good. She's probably back, 30s, whatever,
Yeah.
feeling wise. We know spirit is pretty much energy and whatever. I mean, whatever our beliefs are, but, scientifically, or gosh, not even scientifically. just how we know, right?
Theoretically,
I guess, I don't know,
she's
just from all
free. She's free.
yes, yeah, no more pain. She's with loved ones,
Mhm.
probably, kids, pets, anybody who's there, and then everybody else. I always think about, wonder what that would be like to cross over, and not just my family, but what if Lincoln's over there? I want to meet Amelia Earhart. No, you know, well, who was that one? Oh my gosh. She was a very famous person, and they burned her at the stake, and I'm trying to think of what her name was. Anyway,
Joan of Arc?
was it Joan of Arc?
She burned
Maybe
at the
that was
stake.
it. Maybe that was it. And I was just like, I thought, oh my gosh, to meet someone like that, that energy must be the light, just so amazing. But I was just so happy for her. And I did notice a couple of the CNAs said, yeah, she doesn't have pain anymore. And I said, yeah, but there's a lot more than that. She's like,
Well, yeah, and I also liked what you were telling her about you can just ask your loved ones to come and go with them because that's sovereignty to leave on your terms.
you're right. It is. It is. With dignity, with purpose,
Mhm.
with, I think a lot of people just wait. They're waiting on that doctor's report. They're waiting on that nurse to give them that next pill. That's all they wait on. And then just watch endless, they have minimal,
News.
minimal TV. So there's like
Mhm.
news, game shows, just stuff I haven't had, regular TV. I just have like whatever Roku streaming. So I get to watch what I want. And it's usually anything with ascension and building my
Right.
spirit, things like that.
Yeah.
And I just don't understand other than may possibly the money thing, to keep people hanging on.
Oh, it's 1000% the money thing.
Because in nursing homes, my mom was in a facility, but she wasn't on that level of care. And so the level of care that people get in these nursing homes, it's absolutely shocking. It's like 15,000 and up a month.
Mhm.
I'm like, who pays for that? Who can pay for that? I don't know.
No, and really, if you think about it, the medical establishment makes a lot of money when they just have you on a string. You know, go to any hospital, any hospice, and the amount of pills these people are on is
And
why.
every pill is charged a lot of money
Yeah,
every time.
yeah.
And it's just like, and I'm like, why don't we encourage people? Not encourage, hey,
Why don't
let's
you go
fill your
kick the
bed up with the
bucket?
next person. No, not like that at all. It's like, it's not like keeping the facility full. To me, it's more like, let's help these people. They're hanging on to something they don't have anymore. They don't have
Yeah,
really a physical life that's of uh
value.
value to themselves.
Okay.
If you feel that you're of value, even if you're not able to get out and do things,
Yeah.
but you feel you're of value, that's something else. But when you're just laying there, and that's a lot what we talk about in devotions,
Mhm,
is what can I do now? I always tell them, what can you do right now? The biggest thing you can is either prayer
mhm,
or meditate, whatever
mhm.
your way of getting something good to happen to other people's or situations. I said, let's say you found out your great grandson's having a hard time and got two kids and a wife and he lost his job. Man, you just start praying for him.
Right.
You may not be able to send him any money
Mhm.
or talk to them or anything like that, but you have all this is the biggest power you have that all
Yeah,
humans have is
yeah.
prayer and meditation and sending your energy positive, manifesting. So we kind of talk about that without saying that word because it triggers the
Triggers people.
it does, it triggers
Yeah.
a lot of people. And so that's what I do, and I encourage them that they have purpose here. They do have life
Right.
here.
Right.
even if
Right. You
it's,
don't have to just sit around and like wait for something to happen.
and you know what, when you say things like that to people, there's one gentleman that comes, he just starts crying, but like happy crying.
Yeah.
And I'm like, hey, you okay over there? He goes, yeah. Oh, yeah," you know, and it just makes me feel so good that maybe they don't feel stuck.
Right.
And they don't feel like they're a bother, because a lot of people feel like they're a bother,
Yes.
or
Yes.
become demanding. I'm paying so much to be here. Why aren't you in here, doing this or doing that? And they don't have anything else to think about. So I'm giving them
Right.
other things to think about, that they have power,
Hmm.
and a lot of times I think people just don't think they do.
Right.
And I think we're getting to that time, the awakening. People are awakening to who they really are,
Mhm.
and they're becoming more intuitive and more empathic, and I think that's why a lot of people are kind of going a little crazy right now. Well, they are, because they're feeling things they haven't felt before. They're feeling other people's
Right.
um feelings, and everyone's getting a little
They're
they
not
don't
familiar
they
with
don't
it because we aren't raised with that, right? So we don't know what to
know.
do with it. And also, anytime you're feeling a little bit different, you're vilified for it or you're looked at weird. And so it's hard to talk about it.
I don't care about weird anymore. I used to try to be, I'd have all these weird thoughts, even since I was a kid, why I always thought everybody felt those things, you know, or knew things or whatever. And I remember when I first learned about, women's intuition, I said, oh, that's probably it, and then I've got all these friends that are female and they're not feeling it, getting it, understanding, hey, that person over there's really hurting. Let's go talk to them, or let's call them over and ask them to join us, because I can tell they're really sad. And they're like, huh? And I'm like, okay, so something's going on. And I didn't really understand that until I got older, but I
Mm.
would always try to, be normal, but it didn't work very well. It
We
just,
don't need to be normal. Normal is abnormal.
no, I don't even,
Normal
who is
doesn't
normal?
exist.
It doesn't,
It
it doesn't,
doesn't.
Well, I mean, we try to conform within, this circle so that we can, in the 3D, we can go to work, we can, whatever, take a shower, go to the grocery store, do all those kind of things in order just to live everyday life in this 3D world. But gosh, our spirits are just bursting out right now. Oh my gosh, I feel like I'm like, I don't know, 15 feet wide. It's just so fun. It's actually pretty fun when you're aware.
Yeah.
When you're
Yeah.
not aware, I think it's for some people. And when I hear people say that, especially young people, I still have a lot of kids I talk to from when I worked at the school, where I'm in a small town, so we see each other all the time. And they'll just say, wow, blah, 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 blah. And I'll be that wise old woman. Ba, 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 ba. You are awesome. You can do this. You know why you can do this? Ba, 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 ba. And they're like, oh, okay. And then I'll give their little babies, because now they're starting to have babies and stuff, and I'll give them little
Yeah.
kisses and hugs, and I just tell them, you're doing a good job, even if it's minimal. I think that
Yeah.
they're scratching by. I just tell them how awesome and wonderful they're doing. And I
Yeah.
really think that builds them up, because so many people feel unworthy. That is a
Ugh,
big thing.
so many, so many.
Yes.
I
Yes.
just listened to this podcast, Tom Ferris show interviewing Elizabeth Gilbert, and she recants the story of someone else, Sharon Sand, I don't know, meeting the Dalai Lama, and in the crowd, someone had asked, like, "What do you do with self-hatred?" or something like that, right? And he had to mill it over in his mind and get it translated over and over again because he didn't understand that concept at all. He just was like, "I don't understand that." And also the fact that he's sitting in this room where so many people identified with that here in the
Don't you think
West.
that's weird? I mean, I think it's part of the programming in a very sneaky subliminal way, because I watch a couple of YouTubers that go to just all different kinds of cultures and, all over the world. And he's interviewed people like that are native that still live like, like Africa and I think South America.
Yeah.
And when they do the translation and they talk to them about, just like what you said, and they're just like, what? What? The
What do you
concept is
mean?
not there. They don't have the TV and social media and constructs of whatever, if you want to call it, what are we, like a progressive type, industrialized, Western, I don't know, just all those words we use for the modern stuff,
Yeah.
which I love. I love that we can do these, like the Zoom. That's just
Yeah.
amazing, right? Isn't
Right.
it?
Right.
Because could you imagine if we're having all these meetings, with connecting consciousness? I have a lot of meetings. Could you imagine
Mm.
having to get in your car and go to those meetings, which are
Right.
probably far away, and
Yeah.
do that several times a week? It just doesn't make sense. So
Right.
this kind of stuff is amazing. Plus, even your phone
Yeah.
is a powerful computer, and you
Yeah.
have the library of the world
Hmm. Yep.
right in the palm of your hands. Gosh, I
Tools.
wish I would
We
have
have
had that when I
tools.
was a kid. Oh my gosh. I probably
Yeah.
would have gotten in trouble or more trouble, but you know, um, we,
It
we
can be hard. It just like everything. It can be helpful or it can be harmful.
oh yes, like
We have a
anything.
choice.
Yes, we do. I'm hoping that, and what I'm hearing is as we're awakening and people, their frequencies getting higher, um, that those things, not that we have to force them out, but they will just organically and authentically, all the negative things will dissipate. They're just going to go away. People aren't going to want to do these things that are either harmful to others or whatever. Um, Wish it would have happened when I was younger, but hey, you know what? I just plan on living forever anyway. And when
Well,
we're,
we do. We do, just
yes,
not in
we
our meat
do.
suits. So
Yes,
I
we,
want to talk a little bit about the fact that, you're not sad anymore when people ascend and when you hear that. And how does that feel for you when you're with people that,
well, um, I know that I didn't have this kind of feeling when my father passed away. And he passed away right after 9/11 happened.
Mhm.
And I I just remember praying and saying, but but God, he worked so hard all his life for his family. He was such a good dad, right? And all I got back was, I know. That's what I heard. But the information I got was, and he's now with me. Oh, and that triggered a lot. And then here it is, whatever, 20 something years, or however many years it's been. My mom ascended, and my mom battled mental illness all her life. And it was very difficult growing up that way. And it spread around to, family, friends, everything. And as soon as my sister called me and said, hey, mom passed away last night. And I said, okay, okay, because we knew it was going to happen, right? And she goes, you okay? And I said, I'm fine. I'm fine. She goes, you sure? And I said, oh, I'm great. Then as soon as we hung up, because she was going to go call my brothers, um, I started talking to her because we couldn't ever
You
talk.
knew.
I knew that basically I knew that she knows everything. She's in a place where she has all knowledge and knows why everything's happening, why we choose a journey in our lives, and her part in it, and all of our parts in it. So I I just told her, I said, Mom, I love you.
Excuse me.
And I bet you we can have a much, much better time now. We can talk all the time now. So I call on her to pray when I'm praying for, something or a situation. That's what I do. And now we just get along. Because a
I,
lot of times I hear people say, I didn't get along with this parent or this sister or this whatever, and now they're gone. And I can't make that up. And it's like, yes, you can. Yes, you can. They are with you. We're energy. We're all part. We're all one of a big collective of all of our spirits, I guess you could
Mhm.
say. And we're
Mhm.
all made of
Mhm.
energy. So we're
Mhm.
fractals of energy all
Mhm.
combined with source, with God, with President Lincoln and, Amelia Earhart. I mean, we're connected with everybody. And and I bring that when I go to the nursing home, I I do the same thing. It's like I'll tease them, the ones I'm kind of friends with, I'll tease them. I said, you better not ignore me after get over there and everything. I'm going to be talking to you and asking you stuff. You
Yeah.
better not ignore me. Oh, okay. I won't ignore you because I don't know if they've ever even had that conversation with anyone. So
Right.
to me, it blew my mind when I started awakening and knowing these things and hearing it from others. So I'm just gonna pour into these older people. One of them's not even older. She just had strokes. She's younger than I am. And she's there. And I told her, I say, well, you're gonna probably be here for a long time. So we better like figure it out, right? Because if you're in your 80s or 90s, right,
Mhm. Mhm.
you're probably not going to be there as long as somebody who's in their early 60s.
Right.
Someone who's in their early 60s, we have a lot of people in the nursing homes or, convalescent, whatever, that they're younger. They just have whatever that they have to be taken care of,
Yeah.
and don't have someone at home that can take care of them. And that's something else. All these people in nursing homes, convalescent homes, they don't get visited, and it makes me feel guilty. I didn't visit my one grandpa when he was in a nursing home.
Mhm.
Um, and I felt guilty for a long time about that.
Yeah.
We weren't really close. And I think it was just things that my mother had said, right?
Mhm.
About his life and kind of person he was. And I should have ignored that. I should have gone to
Yeah.
see him. But he's
Serious.
he's home. And
Mhm.
he was part of my spiritual family.
Yeah.
And he knows all and he played a part in it. And I'm actually thankful for that, even though some of it was kind of hard, but I'm thankful for that. And now, so when I see people in the nursing homes and they have a visitor, I always tell the visitor, thank you so much for visiting. I said, this makes a person's day. And they talk about it for months. So
That is
please,
so important.
yes,
That is
yes.
so important, and just that conversation. I mean, when you put a parent, it's just that thing about like our society being so work driven and not making time for the things that matter. Also, I
Yeah.
want to go back to what you said about when your mother
Okay.
passed and you hung
Yeah.
up and you immediately started talking to her.
Mhm.
I think if more people our age knew that and could really wrap our minds around being able to communicate with energetics and spirits around us. Imagine having a parent who ascends and you go through the process of the funeral or however it is, and you literally talk to them the entire time because they're still there. It's just sort of perfunctory that like you're laying the body to rest, but the spirit's still there. I feel like the experience would be so much more different.
We had a memorial for my mom. Let me see. I think she ascended in June. I can't handle heat. In Southern California, where she lived, very, very hot. And I live on the coast now in Oregon because I just can't do hot heat. And so I said, can we do it like when it cools off? So we had it in October. So the weather was beautiful. And here come, I mean, so many people came to her memorial. Cousins, second cousins. aunts, uncles, and we have a little bit of Hatfield and McCoy going on, over this little. I just said hi to everybody. I
Yes.
don't care if you blocked me on Facebook years ago. I
Yeah.
don't care. I just said hi to everybody. And a lot of people, I think, expected me to be sad. And I was happy. I said, she is up there with dad, probably
Mhm.
doing the flamenco because she's Spanish, right?
Yeah.
Or just having a grand time,
Yeah.
having a grand time. No more mental illness to get in the
Mhm.
way.
Mhm.
Um, just none of that stuff. And she was in a lot of pain at the end, and she didn't remember when we visited her. Like I'd go in and she goes, "Oh, Christy, I haven't seen you in, years." I go, Mama, I was just here yesterday. I was here with my cousin. Remember? You were? And I, yep, yep, we were here, but that's okay. And then so I didn't want her to feel bad of not remembering because that really bothers people when they have
Of
those
course.
issues. Yes. One of my former sister-in-law, her mom was getting dementia really bad, and I would bump into them places, Home Depot or wherever. And I remember she would just stare at me. And then so instead of saying, "Hi, it's Kris," do you remember, blah, 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 instead of saying that, I just start talking.
Mhm.
Oh, how's it going? And how are the kids? And da 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 da. And then I saw the light go off and she goes, "Oh, hi, Christy. Oh, I haven't seen you in a long time. And how are you?" And I give her a hug and a kiss, but I wouldn't. A lot of people just want, "Mom, it's me. Mom, it's me." I think we just need to just go in there and just be loving
Mhm.
and nice, whether they remember us or not. And even if they're
Yeah.
kind of a pistol,
Yeah.
just pistol kind of back and kind of, try to bring it so it's fun
Yeah.
and make their experience, just make any experience you have with people a good one. Dr. Phil said that if he said it about what your, husbands to wives, but to whoever, if somebody doesn't feel better after having a conversation with you, you need to start practicing a little bit better. you know, be the up,
Thank
not
you.
the down.
Right.
That's what I try to do with all the nursing home patients.
Yeah, it's a good reminder because I think a lot of times we come from a place of how we feel and we forget about how they feel. And we also forget that we have the choice to make them feel better or
Yes.
make them feel worse.
Yes. And you don't have to be an empath to do that.
Right.
Right? Because a lot of people say, "Oh, well, you're an empath, blah, blah, blah." And I said, so being nice and just thinking, okay, this other person doesn't remember me from last week. This other person doesn't know who I am. So how about if I just come in there like I just met you and let's talk and have a good time? And
Yeah.
then if they start to get a memory and recall, then that will come up. And if they don't, they still had a pleasant encounter and lifted their spirits.
Yeah.
Usually that lasts a while. They're not
Yeah.
just immediately when you walk out the door, grouchy or whatever. It usually lifts them up for a while. And I like to do that with everybody. I did that with the kids when I worked at the school, and I don't know, I guess that's just how I am.
Well,
Yeah.
it's just having that ability to put, wear somebody else's shoes. Because
Yes.
imagine if you were in those shoes, how would you feel if you couldn't remember your own child? And every day they come in and
Yes.
they're like, "Hello, it's me," and it would be so frustrating. It's like being 3 years old again and not
Yes.
knowing anything, but you don't know, and you don't have the the words to describe. It's frustrating. So how do we help them not to be so frustrated?
I think there's the inner work that we need to do
It always
because
comes back to that.
I apparently I've always been an empath. Didn't really realize that, till I got older. But some people are not tuned in yet. I think a lot more are getting there, but a lot of people aren't. So there's an inner work that people can work on is, okay, I'm not understanding what they're feeling. I can't look at someone and know that they're sad or they're mad or whatever. Then how about just switching it? Don't get so sensitive that if your mom or your dad or your aunt or whoever it is that you're visiting doesn't remember you.
Mhm.
They're not doing it on purpose. So
Right.
why don't you just go in there like that and don't get offended? Our culture, my gosh, especially in the past, 10, 20 years, just be offended about everything when actually we ought to just be throwing that off and just saying, well, where's this person coming from?
Right.
Whether you're an empath or not.
Right.
And how can I make this encounter happy and good,
Yeah.
pleasant?
Mhm.
So,
Having a willingness and a curiosity about the person in front of you
yes,
and
yes.
pausing. Silence is golden.
I do that at devotion. Sometimes I'll just say something that's kind of, and then I just sit back. I'll go, okay, so what do you guys think? And then I just keep it quiet, and they're like, you could just see wheels turning, looking at each other. And then someone will pipe up. It's usually the one that's, was raised in the church. Well, I don't know if I believe that. Okay,
Mhm.
what do you believe? And then the other person over here, well, I don't believe that. I believe this. And I said, great. Well, how can we both be great? Because that's obviously wrong. And I said, it's obviously wrong to your understanding and beliefs. And what you're saying is wrong in her understanding and beliefs. So why don't we all just say, hey, we all still love each other. We all still like each other, you know?
Yeah.
It's just opening up just new ways to communicate with people because we're so um especially since cell phones came out, people are more to get, away from each other. And you'll see
Mhm.
that at school, at the schools too, kids, they don't know very much about their friends or
Yeah.
other people in school. They don't
Mhm.
even know. And I just
Yeah.
find that so odd,
Right.
that we are not like when I was young in school, we knew everything about everybody, you
Right.
know,
Yeah,
we
because you
did.
hung out together all the time.
Yes, we hung out, we
Mhm.
told we told our feelings, sometimes we got stabbed in the back with, but whatever, but we did, that gave us this, but
Right.
now it's a text or it's a meme or it's a whatever, whatever they call them now. Kids
Yeah.
all have all these funny things that they use, these apps make funny faces and stuff. And to me, it's like a facade
Mhm.
covering up of what's happening on the inside.
Right. Something we have to
Yeah,
be careful about. But that's for another time.
yeah. Sorry
Today
about
we're
that,
just talking about
squirrel.
today we're just talking about aging people.
Yeah,
So,
sorry.
do you have any no, don't be sorry. I mean, I always bring it back to the kids. It really is. It really, I mean, the kids need to be made to know that they matter. They
They
just
don't feel that, yes, they don't feel that right now. Most they don't.
no,
Most of
and
them are
neither do
very
adults.
forlorn.
And neither do seniors. So if we're, like, sh- and now having this conversation with you, I feel like we should all be spending time in some sort of convalescent home just to bring a little bit of joy.
If you just went in there to visit and you don't even know anybody,
Yeah.
and you could just ask, is there someone here that doesn't get any visitors?
Yeah.
Hey, can I bring my dog that just loves to be pet? Oh my gosh, we'd have a couple people that do that.
Hmm.
We have kids that come from the school and they'll come and sing and then
Yes, we
they'll
used to
pass
do
out
that with our
lollipops and
kids.
stuff. And
Yeah.
there's another, I think there's a church that comes in and if you want, they'll do a little sermon or something, but there are a few, but we need more. If
Yeah.
anybody visited a nursing home, you're just going to see needs everywhere, emotional needs everywhere.
Yeah. You would think that part of the public school could be that visiting the local convalescent
You'd think.
hospital.
You'd think. Maybe I'm hoping that in the future it will, because I think the education system is changing. I think the whole nursing home thing will be changing, especially with ascension and not getting ill, manifesting, um, and all of the medical technology, health technology that's coming out. I think I will. I'm probably going to live in this earth suit for a while.
For sure, and not not hanging by a string, but being completely robust, sound mind, all of that.
Yes, and we don't know
Yeah.
what our futures hold because we're in a transition. The whole world universe is in a transition right now. So if there is that point, where, hey, I'm leaving this earth suit, I'm kind of done, I'm going to go on to my next adventure, right? I'll just tell my kids and my loved ones, hey, this is a decision I made. I'm going to see you. I'll see you some other in the Alps or, over in
Yeah.
Vietnam, and we're just like cruising on the trails, whatever.
I'll see you on the other side. I mean, I've heard a couple of stories of people who have chosen to leave at their own discretion, and
Yeah.
they basically just choose to stop eating. And then they rest and they leave.
I don't know
And
if
it
I could go
allows the
that way.
people who are around them, it allows
Yes.
the people who are around them to really just kind of come and spend time with them and be joyful.
Yeah.
And when they go, they go.
I want to do that because I've seen so many people just get so incredibly sad and um like sobbing and that kind of stuff, and I don't want that for my family. What I
Mm-mm.
want for them is I want to joke around till the last second, you
Right.
know,
Right.
and love on them and hug them and encourage them so that their last, see, that's even going to make me all emotional here, but at their last moments or memories of me will be up, not, oh, I'm
Yeah.
hurting or whatever, um I want them to know that I think that would really, empower them.
Yeah. I think more conversations around the fact that we can talk to our loved ones,
Yes.
once they've
No more
ascended.
being shy and dancing around the the
Yeah.
the the word or the event.
Yeah.
It's more like an event. Because
Yeah.
if you think about what's happening, you would be joyful, but you're thinking about your own sadness
Right.
that you're gonna miss them. And I'd rather spend that time being happy and hugging and, all that kind of stuff.
Laughing.
Yes.
Thank
Yes.
you, Chris.
Thank you so much.
Did you have anything else to add before we end?
No, just everybody just try to, I guess, just walk, like you said, walk in somebody else's shoes and not just think about what you're thinking. Think about what they're thinking because service to others is what satisfies our hearts.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
I'm sure I'll have you on again soon.
Okay.